Coming up on Cardinals Insider,
we threw on the flight deck as much as we could.
We catch up with Cardinal and U.S. Navy alum Mitch Harris. Plus,
what's going on, guys? First of all, I want to thank you all for having me out here today.
See how Tommy Edman made a recent baseball camp anything but ordinary. And later,
that first day, it's a lot of tension.
We talk about draft night with Randy Flores. That and more on this week's Cardinals Insider. Welcome to Cardinals Insider. I'm Ozzie Smith. We begin this 4th of July week episode with a visit from Mitch Harris, who both played for the Cardinals and served his country in the United States Navy. When you arrived at the Naval Academy, were the big leagues on your mind?
No, not really. I mean, obviously being able to go there and play baseball was an honor. But to be realistic, as a high school athlete, I was just an average athlete that played multiple sports, pitched, hit, played multiple positions. So never really thought that, hey, I'm really going to have a shot at playing in the big leagues. But hey, if I had the opportunity, I was going to take it.
You served over 4 years after graduating. What did you do in the service?
So my first ship, I was on an amphibious ship. We basically transported Marines. My first job on there was the weapons officer. I then transitioned to the combat information center officer on that ship after about the second deployment. And then my second ship, I was on USS Carr, and I was the training officer on that ship.
Were you able to work on your arm?
Well, on the first ship, we had a little bit bigger flight deck. And so in between flight ops, there was a cook on board who was from the Dominican Republic. And so when I found that out, I went directly to him and said, hey, if my dad sends me some baseballs, would you want to throw a baseball? And of course he laughed and said, anytime you want. So we threw on the flight deck as much as we could. But on the second ship, I wasn't able to throw much, only when we were in port. But I just kept my body in best shape I could, knowing that if I got an opportunity, I wanted to make sure that I could really work on my arm, knowing that my body wasn't going to break down.
What were some of the challenges in the minor leagues when you had younger teammates?
Well, first of all, my first team, I was older than the manager, and that manager was Ollie Marmol, who everyone is familiar with now. But we had a good time. We joked about it, and it was fun. The funny thing was a lot of those guys had more experience on the field than I did, but obviously I had a lot more experience off the field than them. So it was really cool to kind of be able to bounce things off of each other, both in life and baseball. That was the best part.
What do you remember most about your debut?
To be honest, how bittersweet it was. Having your horse go down in Adam Wainwright was a big blow to the team. Having him blow his Achilles that day was terrible. None of us wanted to see that. Quite frankly, that's not how I want to make my debut. But being able to come in after him was, an honor to be able to say, hey, I come in, kind of help out not only him but the team, and win the game was big. Yeah, obviously, the first pitch, and realizing that not only was my fiance in the stands, but at the game I had a guy that was on my first ship. Was there to see me throw my first pitch in the big leagues, and I think that was the biggest moment for me was knowing that, but also being able to see him after the game. Because while I was in the military, I preached to my guys about hey, you're in it for a couple different reasons. You're either there to get an education, prolong your career in the military, or use it as a stepping stone to kind of get to wherever you're wanting to go. And so if I was going to be preaching that to my guys, they kind of turned around on me and said, hey, well, sir, you've got a dream too. And with my guys, I was able to kind of go and fulfill that dream and accomplish that goal with one of those in attendance.
What are you doing today, Mitch?
I'm a financial advisor here in Atlanta. I love it. I'm actually working with some guys that I played with. So still serving and really enjoying it.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and visiting with us today, and continued success. And hopefully I'll catch you down the road somewhere.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ozzie. I appreciate the time.
All right. Straight ahead on Cardinals Insider,
Nothing better than playing some baseball in the summer.
an unforgettable youth baseball camp. Also ahead,
It's an honor to represent the Cardinals and to represent that first touch point with the player as they become a St. Louis Cardinal.
Randy Flores joins the show to talk about the upcoming MLB Draft. This summer, the Cardinals are hosting kid clinics all over Cardinals Nation. Cardinals alumni run campers through drills, and at select sites, current players drop by to sign autographs and do a Q&A.
I got to be a part of my first Cardinals Kids Clinic, and I signed a bunch of baseballs for some young Cardinals fans who were super excited to be out here, and got to answer a Q&A for some kids and some parents' questions. So it was a fun experience, and I'm excited for a few more later this year. What's going on, guys? First of all, I wanted to thank you all for having me out here today. I mean, it's good to see all you guys coming out. Nothing better than playing some baseball in the summer. I mean, the kids had some great questions. They were kind of varied a lot, from asking about academics, asking about being a switch hitter, asking about kind of moving around the field, and it kind of showed how engaged they were and how they're excited about their future baseball careers as well, and kind of just shows me like how much they pay attention to what's going on in the field and what we players do. I think that's the most important thing about defense is instead of reacting to a ball being hit to you, is almost expecting the ball to be hit to you. And I think if you want the ball to be hit to you, it makes you that much better of a defender.
Diving catch, Tommy Edman. You can count on him.
Well, the best way to get a hit is you got to make sure you're on time. You got to make sure you're starting your load plenty early. What's that? Level swing, there you go. That's a great piece of advice. Yeah, you can have a level swing, that's really important as well. I think one of the most important things to do when you're growing up is just to make sure you're getting outside and doing as much active stuff as possible, whether that's baseball or any other sports, or just honestly just going out and playing outside with your friends. I think that's one of the things that's so cool about the Cardinals organization is that all the alumni always come back and want to be able to help out whatever way they can. So having former Cardinals players coming out and helping with these clinics and them having us out here to be able to talk to all these young Cardinals fans is unbelievable, and it just shows how much the Cardinals are placing emphasis on giving back to the community. We're so glad to have you guys out at all of our games. I mean, you guys are the best fans in baseball, and it's just been a true blessing to be part of the St. Louis community.
And still to come,
You're just focused on the task at hand, and you hope that if you do your part, you then contribute to the team.
talking Major League Baseball draft with Cards assistant GM and scouting director Randy Flores. That's after the break. The Major League Baseball draft moved to July this year. It'll run 20 rounds this year after an abbreviated version in 2020. Cardinals assistant GM and scouting director Randy Flores joined our Brett McMillan to talk about running the Redbirds draft.
It's an exciting time, busy time of year for you guys.
No doubt about it. It's been a long year, a good year.
So every time that you're getting ready for a draft, I'm sure there are some things that are different, but in general, when you look at your department, what makes a successful draft, or what's the objective heading into this week?
Wow, right to the hard question out of the gate. I think that, look, you can make that question as simple to answer or as complex to answer depending on which way you go. Simplistically, a successful draft is one where you procure players that have a chance to help out your major league team.
The St. Louis Cardinals select Zach Thompson, a left-handed pitcher from the University of Kentucky.
Each of the 30 clubs have their own room in their home cities. Just kind of describe in general what that room is like here in St. Louis and who's in the room as things are going down.
Yeah, well, look, and the draft has different personalities to each side of it, and so that room personality takes a different vibe depending on which day of the draft it is. But let me just start by saying, well, who's in the room at the draft? Every organization is different, but what we do is we invite all of our scouts to participate in the draft, not only in the preparation leading up to it, but actually the draft itself. We also have all of our baseball development employees and personnel there. We also have all of our front office there, and that goes all the way up to Mo, and then all the way up to our owner, Mr. Bill DeWitt. And so that room is bursting at the seams, and I can imagine that if someone walked into a draft room now, after visiting one 50 years ago, and no draft room in between, they would think that they were an entirely different planet and a different sport. But there's a lot of people involved, and that room has various levels of tension depending on which day of the draft it is.
What are you doing in the room as things are progressing? I mean, players are coming off the board, you're seeing in real time on TV.
Does this look normal? Pacing, biting your nails, kind of freaking out, trying to look like you have it together. But really, that first day, it's a lot of tension because there's not a lot of action. You're waiting a lot. And we hope to always be a team that has to wait, so a team that picks from 19 to pick 30 in that first round. You're waiting and looking at that board to see what players have a chance to get to you. And it's something that you have to spend an enormous amount of time kind of prepping for in a different way than a team picking inside the top 5 picks. Their pressures and procedures and their pain points are different than us later in the draft. But that first day, we're all dressed up a little bit more. The talk is quieter, the anxiety builds, and then quickly you pivot to some of the stakeholders in that decision tree as that first pick is getting ready to be chosen.
Now, I guess when you play at a pitch that came out of your hand could change the trajectory of the organization, but now you sit in a seat where the pick that you make really could impact the next couple of years. Is there more or less anxiety than when you played?
Well, there is
How
more.
does it compare?
When you phrase it that way, yes, there's definitely more. Look, I've said it this way, as a player on that mound, you do everything you can, or at least I did, to block out the world. You're singularly focused. You're myopic. You're blocking out the fans. You're blocking out the media. You're blocking out your coach. You're blocking out family situations. You're just focused on the task at hand. And you hope that if you do your part, you then contribute to the team. In this role now, as a scouting director and assistant general manager, you're acutely aware of everything that goes into that product, that goes into that pitch, that goes into that team. And so you do kind of have to, you have to block that out in a different way, except that you're acknowledging and know the blood, sweat, and man hours that go into the work and preparation for the draft that culminate in that magnet getting pulled.
With your first round pick, when you call that player and you get to say, welcome to the St. Louis Cardinals, what's that like? Because that guy's been working his whole life for that, and you get to deliver that phone call.
You know what, it is really quick and it's brief. It's their first introduction to the St. Louis Cardinals, their first introduction to me. We also have another pick to make, and so you want that player to enjoy that moment with their family. Every player knows the St. Louis Cardinals, and so when you call on behalf of the organization, the history we have here, the consistency we have here, the great pillars of the game, Hall of Famers that have come through here, it's an honor to represent the Cardinals and to represent that first touch point with the player as they become a St. Louis Cardinal.
In just a bit,
I got tons of fans up in Section 231 counting for us from the Air Force.
a blessing in disguise for a U.S. Air Force colonel.
There's nothing like the excitement of Cardinals baseball, and the 2021 Cardinals Media Guide makes sure you're ready for every moment. Learn all about your favorite players and rising prospects with bios, stats, and background info. It's your in-depth guidebook for the St. Louis Cardinals. Get yours at cardinals.com/media guide or at the Cardinals team store inside Busch Stadium. As another year of history unfolds, follow along using the 2021 official media guide. The St. Louis Cardinals. Fly.
Air Force Colonel Scott Heathman was in a car accident that saved his life. When he was treated for his injuries, doctors discovered cancer. It's an incredible story, and one he was honored for at a Cardinals game earlier this year.
It was an honor for Colonel Scott Heathman to throw out a first pitch, but we were just as honored to have someone with his valor throw it.
It's an honor to be here to throw out the first pitch. I got tons of fans up in Section 231 counting for us from the Air Force. And of course, I got my family here too.
Scott is in his 24th year in the Air Force, but it definitely hasn't been a smooth flight, as Scott was in a tragic car accident 2 years ago, which led to an MRI that revealed some bad news.
I was diagnosed about 2 years ago with a brain tumor. And so we spent about a year kind of watching, seeing what was happening with that. And then last year it started to affect me. And so we decided to go into surgery, and I elected to go through that at Barnes Jewish.
There is still a little fighting to go, but Scott feels encouraged.
So they took out most of the tumor. I've got a little bit left that we're still battling, and went through some radiation treatments last fall. The key to this is to stay optimistic, let the path go the way it needs to go. And it sure was fun ringing that bell when I was done with that.
After a brief delay, he's back to serving our country.
So now, I'm a colonel in the Air Force, commanding an incredible base at Scott Air Force Base, and I got some great total force partners in the Guard and Reserve. I'll be moving on to another position, a little step up, be the Vice Commander of 18th Air Force, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Scott has also learned what's important in his life.
I don't think about time anymore. I think about how I manage my energy, practice mindfulness, and that's what I've really tried to get into to help myself get through this. But you just got to take my time, do what I can with what I got, and surround yourself with a great support system.
Thank you for your service, Colonel Scott Heathman, and good luck to you on your journey. For Cardinals Insider, I'm Ben Holtmeyer.
The American Lung Association's Fight for Air event raised over $200,000 this year. It relocated to Busch Stadium for 2021. And here's how this event is helping the world breathe easier.
Today we have our Fight for Air Climb, which is our largest fundraising event for the American Lung Association. We have around 800 climbers from St. Louis, and we've got about 60 firefighters climbing 1,075 steps to raise money for our organization.
Well, this is our 4th year doing the stair climb. It's very exciting, very strenuous. They canceled it due to COVID for the prior year. So we're all back now. We're just going to give it our best shot. It's totally different, new environment, never done it here before. But we're going to see how it goes.
When we called, I didn't know if Busch would be open to having a stair climbing event, but the Busch Stadium staff has been fantastic.
So they came to us, said, they usually host this event inside a building downtown. Let's turn it into an outdoor event. So we transformed the stadium into a stair climb.
They worked with us creating not only a great route, but a safe route and making sure that our climbers are safe as well. So yeah, we're excited to be here this year.
There's a lot of people that's affected by asthma, different things that with their respiratory system, and to raise money for research and stuff like that, this is the least that we can do, because it's hard trying to breathe through a straw if you're having an asthma attack, and I think a lot of people that have that situation really understands that, so this is the least that we can do for those people.
Still to come, you ask, I answer. It's Ask Ozzie after the break.
No place takes you in depth with the Cardinals like our YouTube channel. Get to know the players, come along for one-of-a-kind experiences, and hang out with personalities from across Cardinals Nation. Plus, we capture the days and moments that make Cardinals baseball so special. Just search St. Louis Cardinals on YouTube and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. St. Louis Cardinals Baseball. Fly.
It's time for this week's Ask Ozzie. Chloe in Woodbridge, Illinois wants to know, what's your favorite Ted Drewes flavor? Well, with the St. Louis summer heat, I would have to go with the orange slushy. It's very refreshing, and does it go down good? I'm an ice cream connoisseur. My favorite ice cream is Bluebell, but I will substitute Haagen-Dazs vanilla. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. I love vanilla ice cream. It's one of my favorite things to do after a great meal. I'm not too much on trying to go with the different flavors, butter pecan or mint chocolate and all of that. I'm pretty much a straight guy and I love soft serve. Thanks for the question, Chloe. If you want to submit a question, head to cardinals.com/insider and click the Ask Ozzie tab. There's more still to come here on Cardinals Insider, so don't go anywhere. The Cardinals play in St. Louis, but the players make their winter homes all over the country and the world. We wanted to know what they like about their hometown and what's the most popular thing to do amongst visitors.
I mean, just really kind of engage in the culture. You can get a lot of culture in different pockets in different neighborhoods. You know, a lot of people like to go to Times Square. You know, do what you gotta do, but you know, I would venture away from Times Square and kind of head downtown or even uptown. There's just a lot of culture in that city, and it really, you know, one street can separate a completely different feel. So, you know, not being afraid to go out there and just wander New York City is the best thing I would do.
Well, I guess my hometown is Orlando, would be Disney World.
It's pretty touristy, but if you got a nice day, you could take a charter boat out fishing. I think that's a good way to enjoy Florida. You get a nice view of the beach, depending on what you're doing out there. If you're not doing that, I just go to the beach. You know, nice day, go to the beach. We got great beaches here. They're not super crowded. You can get out away from people. You can kind of get some solitude. If you like to walk, you go north, Hope Sound National Wildlife Refuge, that north end of Jupiter Island. It's like no houses on the beach, just kind of, it's a little bit of a nature hike, and the beach is really nice up there.
San Diego, I mean, you got to go to the beach for sure. There's so many different beach options. Another great one is the San Diego Zoo. That Torrey Pines, if you're a golfer, golfing Torrey Pines is incredible. And if you're not a golfer, just going on the Torrey Pines hike is really neat as well.
That's it for today. You can watch this station each week or catch full episodes on YouTube. Plus, we're always online at cardinals.com/insider. Until next time, I'm Ozzie Smith, and I'll see you next week.